So hey guys, this is Sushant here,
Hey guys, this is Sundar here.
and we are the Digital Empaths. So guys, I'm really excited to have a new guest today in our episode, which is Anthony Garcia, and who is a close friend, who was my ex-business partner during my 3 Touchpoints days, a father of 3 lovely daughters, a super brilliant. Anthony has been working in the digital industry for over 28 years now, and he has worked across different industry verticals, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's finance, it's energy, and these days he's working with UiPath. I'm not sure whether our listeners know about UiPath or not. It's a software company who has built a platform for robotic process automation. And they did a couple of acquisitions in 2019 to strengthen their RPA offering. And if the company has a history in Romania, I think that's where the founders belong to. And in the last few years, I think since 2005, the company has grown significantly. And I think right now there's roughly around 5,000 plus customers across the world. And that's a remarkable number, Anthony. So Anthony, I would ask you, first of all, what is robotic process automation? Because there's a lot of buzz around in the industry. A lot of companies are talking about it. And how does the UiPath customers perceive UiPath, basically? What is their perception about the company?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, so robotics process automation, we're talking about software robots, not hardware robots. And they're capable of mimicking many, if not most, human actions. For instance, they can log into applications, move files and folders around, copy and paste data, fill in forms, extract structured and semi-structured data from documents, scrape browsers. Pretty much anything that is a high volume, business rules driven, repeatable process is something that would be a good candidate for automation. And so for our clients, they're seeing that we can do these things, and they've got 4 goals, and they are accomplishing them with this RPA tool. They're increasing revenue and lowering cost, improving customer satisfaction, also increasing employee engagement. People are really excited to get rid of these processes that they've been doing manually for so long, and reducing compliance risk. So lots of government regulations that people need to maintain, and they're using robots to get that information to the government to fulfill these regulations.
Okay. And I was reading a research which was published by Gartner in 2019, where they mentioned that the whole RPA software spend is going to cross over $2.4 billion by 2022. And there was another research I was reading which was talking about this whole industry is going to hit around $8.5 billion by 2024. So what kind of trends, what kind of interesting lifts, and what kind of interesting movements that you're seeing in this industry?
Yeah, trends. You mentioned Gartner. Gartner is predicting for 2020 that the #1 trend is called hyperautomation, and what that is it's the expansion of automation from those manual RPA processes to combine additional technologies and kind of like make like an end-to-end automation lifecycle. So these other technologies they're talking about is like marrying artificial intelligence, machine learning, process mining, where you're like trying to figure out what exactly are the processes and what are the things you don't like about how you're doing things today. Of course, RPA, then long-running workflows where computers and humans are working together seamlessly. We're doing native integrations with software as a service, things like SAP and Salesforce, ServiceNow. And then, you've got to have that advanced analytics so your return on investment over as-is processes and the capacity of your digital workforce to do even more work for you. So inside of hyperautomation, you're bringing these data scientists out with their complex algorithms. You're taking them out of the lab, and you're bringing them into the business across the organization. So that's hyperautomation. That's my first trend that I see. The second trend, is the quick evolution of working from home model. We're all doing it right now. We're going to Zoom meetings. We're taking accreditation, practicing, collaborating. We're really all just figuring out how business is going to work after the end of this quarantine. My third trend that I believe in is we're democratizing this idea of how are processes working, how could they work better. Citizen-led development. We've got a lot of low-code solutions so that people who aren't necessarily programmers can affect business processes. And all of these are opening up feedback loops that in turn can give us more inclusive AI models. It's basically unbiased artificial intelligence. That's what I think is the third trend.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's really interesting. So Anthony, a question from me. Given the current, COVID situation, and we believe that there is going to be a bigger boost, a bigger push for automation, for digitization, more so around business critical processes, and then trickling down to others. What's your take on that thought process?
Yeah, so it's important to remember the moments that we're seeing right now during this time, where so many of us are focusing on helping in any way we can against this common problem. In this case, it's COVID. So for COVID, we've seen lots of opportunities. For instance, we're helping customers like Cleveland Clinic to address wait lines at hospitals, remove backlogs for nurses and the administrators of the hospital, and even in little ways, speeding up the testing process. There's a lot of red tape that goes along with doing testing. So the new normal, we'll see a great deal more automation. Most COVID businesses, post-COVID, businesses still need to get work done, and they need to not only survive but come out of this stronger and know more about how to work together. So my takeaways from this experience have been that automation is a great tool to give back time, redirect priorities more dynamically, and really facilitate sophisticated disaster recovery scenarios. Disaster recovery is no longer a plan to do something that would cover us for 8 days. We might have to cover ourselves for months, and that's the difference I'm seeing now.
It's interesting you say that, at the end of this, organizations and industries have an opportunity to come out on the other side probably better and faster and quicker. But, if I had to cover the other end of the spectrum, what are some of the skepticisms or some of the concerns that you see around robotic process automation?
Well, yeah. So prior to COVID, there was a lot of skepticism about whether or not RPA could work for our customers and their systems. A lot of people are tied into traditional ways of integration, but this is becoming a thing of the past. A lot of our customers now are kind of asking us, how can I quickly add and build capacity? And that capacity could be giving back time, saving money, but also addressing new opportunities faster that businesses had thought about, but they could never get to fast enough. So yes, so we're just those skepticism seem to be going away with the idea that we need to move faster in order to integrate businesses together.
Thank you. That's interesting.
The another thing I wanted to ask is, I think I know because of this pandemic situation, the biggest worry for every economy is the unemployment. And I think we have seen the numbers. The travel sector has been impacted significantly, which employs over 50 million people across the world. So what kind of skepticism that you see from your customers, I think, when you go out to a new prospective client, okay, do you see a lot of pushback from the incumbent workforce internally that, oh, no, we don't need automation. I don't know whether I'm going to lose my job, or are you going to create new jobs? So what kind of usual concerns that you hear from your prospective customers?
Yes. Well, what I see is wherever I've seen a customer embrace automation, RPA has opened up more opportunities than it closes. I've had folks who have been doing the same job 8 hours a day, manual processes, and they've become RPA proponents. They've saved their time and they've used it to do other things that are more impactful to the business. So what I would say is people who are inclined to see these trends and have a lot of opportunity to take RPA courses, and if for those people who are afraid that they might be unemployed because a process goes away and has replaced with automation, I'd say to those guys, you should really think about taking the time while you're unemployed to reskill yourself. Focus on business analysis skills and learning RPA as opposed to getting another job doing the same kind of manual process. Take this time to get embedded with RPA, because RPA jobs are out there and they're growing exponentially. In fact, there's no more marketable skill than RPA right now. I think it's been ranking number 2 all time in a lot of career surveys that I've seen on LinkedIn. So that's what I say is there may be job loss, but there's more opportunities and more jobs being built from building smarter business processes.
Got it.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Anthony, one final question. If you had to call out maybe 2 big bets in 2020, and how RPA could shape up the industry post COVID-19, what would you think those are?
Yeah, so I think there's 2 big bets that I'm going to see in the next year is that RPA is just going to grow faster in velocity while companies come back after the quarantine and have been collaborating about how they're going to work together. So RPA is going to be even in higher demand. That's the first big bet. The second bet is that our old normal is not going to come back post COVID-19. Some of these brick and mortars that have been closed for months, they're not going to return, and we're going to have to figure out more ways to work together. But if we're left in this situation for a few more weeks, which it looks like we will be, we're going to perfect this, and this new normal way of working is going to show stronger company integration, process integration, and I think we're gonna move faster as a world, solving problems that we all see are out there.
Cool. So Anthony, I know you have been in the industry for such a long time. I think there's going to be close to 3 decades now in the next couple of years.
And you and
that's
I have
a long
each other for like 20, right?
And I know you have been a learner. You have always been a student. And I think, in fact, I was sharing with Sundar also that I've always seen Anthony learning new technologies, new concepts, and working across so many different industries. Now, if I look at your past, I think you have spent so much time in the space of BI, okay? The data analytics, the data crunching, mining. I still remember those old days at GSI Commerce when you were managing the big data warehouses and building those star schemas. So a guy who spent years in the data fraternity, mining it, building those massive warehouses. Now, when you enter into this space of robotic process automation, are you seeing some synergies? Are you leveraging some of those old skills that you have been honing for years? Are they coming handy right now?
Yes, I mean, I wish I were 20 years younger, because there are so many great things out there right now that I did manually. I mean, even myself, manually logging into systems, studying data, looking for patterns, and now I have robots going out and pulling things from wherever I think I can get the information from, without me having to type in, write SQL queries and things like that each and every time, even though it's the same SQL query every time. And then once you put the data into these Amazon Web Services or Azure systems, you can write queries that come back in seconds that used to take minutes. and then you've got artificial intelligence algorithms that take all those patterns and give you a clear picture as to what the trends are and what the prediction is of what you're doing and how that's going to impact the business. And you can see in real time that your business is getting smarter. So I really wish I was 20 years younger right now. I've got about 15 more years to go, and I'm going to make use of all these things and all this learning that I've been doing. I hope everyone else is doing the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed.
Yeah.
And would you like to give any suggestions or any kind of career path advice to any youngster who wants to enter into the space of robotic process automation? That what kind of a career path that they can make in this particular field? Any based on your experience in this UiPath?
Yeah. So for myself, I've been working in different industries: military, banking, e-commerce, and medical. And I think what I would say to anyone, even youngsters or even people who are even my age and just looking for a new career path, is teach yourself coding, teach yourself RPA. Don't worry too much about getting too deep into it. What the important thing is learning how businesses work, how people talk together. You learn how to talk. I'm learning how to communicate all the time. I used to be very introverted and into computers, and talking is a very important skill to have as well. I would love to advertise. If you go to academy.uipath.com, there's plenty of free classes there to teach yourself RPA, and I've seen people as young as 8 or 9 and as old as in their 60s teaching themselves RPA, and their eyes just open when they build their first robot, and I'd really love to see more of us doing that. I think there's been over 400,000 people who have trained themselves in RPA, at least taken 1 or 2 classes, and it's really impressive to see. There's a great community. I would say join these things where you're in message groups trying to figure out how to do things. Google how to do something. All sorts of ways to learn, and at all sorts of level and at your own pace. So I'm really excited about the future. Again, I wish I was 20 years younger right now, because there's so much we can do.
So thank you very much, Anthony, for taking our time. And I really appreciate, I think we still have the old memories of our 3. So I wish you best of luck, and please stay inside, keep yourself quarantined, and let your family also be safe, and have a wonderful year ahead.
Yep, stay safe, guys.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Take care. Bye.
All right, guys.